Night had already swallowed the alien world when the human traveler, Evan Hale, stepped into the silent valley. His boots sank into soft ash, and every breath he took tasted like dust and danger. He did not know the stories the locals whispered. He did not know the warnings carved into the stones. All he knew was that his scanner showed a strange energy signal coming from the ancient ruins ahead, and humans always followed signals. Above him, the sky cracked with purple lightning. Far away, mountains glowed faintly like dying embers. This world was older than any human map hand. Everything in the air felt wrong. But Evan kept walking. Curiosity pulled him deeper, stronger than fear. At the heart of the valley stood an enormous stone temple, broken and half-buried. Vines wrapped around its pillars like iron chains. Carvings of screaming faces covered the walls. But the center of the ruin held something far worse: a glowing sacrificial pillar, and a girl chained to it. Evan froze. The girl was alien tall, silver-skinned, with dark blue hair hanging down her back. Her eyes were sharp, bright, and full of cold fire. She looked like she could kill a beast with her bare hands. If she wasn't tied with glowing metal cuffs burning into her wrists, she lifted her head when she heard footsteps. At first, she seemed annoyed, as if another guard had come. Then she saw him. Man's shock crossed her face. "Ah, human," she whispered. Evan raised his hands slowly. "Easy, I'm not here to hurt you." Her voice was steady, but heavy with exhaustion. "Then you are more foolish than I thought. Humans do not belong here. Leave." Before the creature wakes, Evan frowned. "Creature." She tilted her chin toward the giant stone eyes carved behind the pillar. "It sleeps beneath the temple. It rises when the sacrifice is ready." Evan looked around. No guards, no tribe, no voices, just her, and an ancient darkness waiting below. He took a step forward. "Who put you here?" "My tribe," she said bitterly. "They offered me to the shadow beast to protect themselves. They fear it. They worship it. But you should run. It will not accept you." Evan examined the glowing cuffs. They were strong, far stronger than any lock he had seen. Energy pulsed through them like veins of fire. "How long have you been here?" 3 days, she answered. "When the fourth moon rises, it comes for me." Evan checked the sky. The third moon glowed faintly, and the fourth had already begun to climb. He did not think. He did not calculate risk. He simply pulled his pack off his shoulder and dropped to his knees beside her chains. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "Trying to get you out." The alien girl stared at him as if he had lost his mind. "This is forbidden. No one touches the sacrificial pillar. No one interferes with the rite. My people would rather die than challenge the shadow beast." "Well," Evan muttered, pulling out a plasma cutter, "I'm not your people." She shook her head. "You do not understand. This creature feeds on fear. It is unstoppable." "Everything has a weak point," Evan replied calmly. Lightning flashed again, turning the ruins white for a moment. The pillar hummed like a heartbeat. The air thickened. The girl's voice lowered into a trembling whisper. "It wakes." Evan's cutter hit the Chanon. Sparks exploded. The ground shook. A deep echo rolled from beneath the temple, like something ancient stretching after a long sleep. Stones fell from the ceiling. Dust swirled around them. Evan kept cutting. Behind the pillar, the stone eyes began to glow with dark purple light. Her breathing quickened. "Human, listen to me. You cannot fight it. Even my strongest warriors ran from it. You are only one man." "That's enough," he said. Evan pressed the cutter deeper. The chain glowed red. Then white dot boom, dot a roar tore through the ruins. The temple walls vibrated as if a massive heartbeat pounded inside them. A black crack opened in the stone floor, stretching toward the pillar. Her eyes widened. "It comes. Stop and run." Evan ignored her. He gritted his teeth and pushed the tool and tilt rack. The first chain shattered. She gasped. Another roar. Louder, closer. The crack in the floor expanded, and a shadow rose from it, thick, twisting. A monstrous shape formed inside the darkness. Horns, glowing eyes. A mouth full of shifting teeth made of light. The shadow-beast dotted, screamed an echo that felt like cold knives against the skin. The alien girl trembled despite her warrior pride. "You see? It knows I am free. It will kill us both." Evan didn't look at the creature. He focused on the second chain. "Then we move fast." The creature lunged. The ground split under its weight, sending debris into the air. Evan grabbed her arm as the second chain broke. "Come on." But it was too late. The monster blocked their escape route. She looked at him, shocked that he stayed beside her instead of running. "You really are foolish," she whispered. "Yeah," Evan said, tightening his grip, "but humans do foolish things for a reason." The shadow beast lowered its head. Preparing to strike, Evan stepped forward, shielding her with his body. The shadow beast's roar echoed across the ruins, shaking loose stones from the ceiling. Dust rolled through the air as Evan stood between the monster and the alien girl he had just freed. The beast's glowing eyes narrowed, focusing on the human with almost curious hunger. The girl stared at Evan as if she could not understand him. "Why are you still here?" she shouted. "You should run." Evan didn't move. "Not without you." The creature lunged. A wave of black energy shot forward like a storm. Evan grabbed the girl's arm and pulled her behind the fallen slab of stone. The blast hit the slab and shattered it into pieces, sending them tumbling. The girl winced but kept her balance. She looked at Evan again, this time with confusion instead of anger. No human would choose to fight this thing. "Why you?" Evan shrugged, panting. "You were chained." "That didn't sit right with me." Another roar. Another blast. Evan rolled, dragging her with him until they both reached a narrow passage created by collapsed pillars. The shadow beast tried to squeeze through, but its massive body didn't fit. Its arm, pure shadow, and shifting claws slammed against the stones, sending tremors through the walls. She leaned closer to him, her breath shaking. "You don't understand. That creature was born from our ancestors' fears. It feeds on terror. Every tribe on this world bows to it. Even our strongest warriors would rather die than stand in its path." Evan picked up a glowing stone shard, one of the temple fragment, sand, threw it at the beast. The stone hit its face. The beast didn't flinch, but it turned its attention toward Evan again. "Yeah," Evan muttered. "I kind of figured that wasn't going to hurt it." The girl blinked at him. "You mock death." "Not mocking, just stalling." He pulled a flare from his belt and snapped it open. A burst of bright white light exploded across the ruins. The shadow beast shrieked its form, shaking like steam hit by cold water. The girl gasped. "Light. It weakens it." Evan shook the flare again. The beast staggered back a few steps, its shadow form flickering. "Not weakens," he said. A noise. The creature shifted tactics. It reared back, gathering another blast. Evan shoved the flare into her hand. "Hold this. Don't drop it." She held it tightly, the intense white glow reflecting in her sharp blue eyes. Evan pulled out a sonic grenade, small, round, and powerful. He clicked the activation rune. "Cover your ears." He threw it directly under the creature. The grenade erupted with a violent wave of sound. The temple walls shook. The shadow beast screeched, its body unraveling into swirling strands of darkness. The girl stared at Evan with wide eyes. "Your weapons." They confuse it. That's the idea, Evan said. Confused monsters don't kill us. For a moment, the creature lost its shape, then slowly rebuilt itself from the swirling shadow. This time, it didn't attack. It watched them. Studied them. It learns, she whispered. Evan swallowed. Yeah, that's not ideal. The beast lowered itself, preparing to rush them again. She stepped closer to Evan. You should leave. I will slow it down. No, he said simply. You don't even know my name. She argued that doesn't matter. She stared at him, with an expression she had never used before, something between respect and disbelief. Humans. I was told your species runs from danger. Evan smirked. We run sometimes, but not today. The creature's body darkened, gathering even more shadow around itself. The ruins dimmed, swallowed by its presence. The girl braced herself for the final charge. It will kill us. Maybe, Evan said, lifting another flare, but it will kill us running. He threw the flare to his left. The creature followed the light instinctively, roaring as it hit the ground. Evan grabbed her wrist. Move. They dashed through the ruins, weaving through broken pillars and shattered statues. The shadow beast slammed into walls behind them, trying to reach them, destroying everything in its path. She kept glancing back, shocked that a human could run toward danger rather than away from it. Finally, they reached a broken exit tunnel leading out of the temple's side. Fresh, cool wind rushed in. We're close, Evan shouted. But before they could escape, the beast tore through the upper wall and landed in front of them, blocking their path with its massive, shadowy form. The girl froze. Evan grabbed her hand. Don't stop. Not now. The beast opened its jaws, gathering the darkest blast yet. The girl whispered, "This is where we die." Evan shook his head. No, this is where we find another way. The creature roared, unleashing the attack. The shadow beast's blast tore through the air like a storm made of darkness. Evan threw himself against the girl, pushing her behind a cracked pillar as the black wave hit. The pillar shattered, but it gave them just enough cover to survive. Dust exploded everywhere. The ground shook. The girl coughed and stared at Evan with disbelief. You keep risking your life for me. Why? Evan wiped blood from his forehead. Because I don't like bullies, especially giant shadow ones. The creature roared again, angry, confused sound. It wasn't used to prey that resisted. It walked in heavy, echoing steps, searching through the ruins for them. The girl leaned closer. Listen carefully, human. This creature does not obey natural rules. You cannot kill it with blades or guns. It was created from fear itself. Evan checked his belt. Most of his equipment was damaged, but one tool remained, a light projector, used for mapping unknown structures. He smiled slightly. Maybe that's all we need. Before she could question him, he activated the projector. A bright sphere of white light formed in his hand. The shadows around them recoiled instantly, shrinking away in thin, twisting lines. The shadow beast hissed. The girl's eyes widened. It hates the light. It hates anything that makes fear smaller, Evan said. Light does that. The creature lunged. Evan grabbed her hand and ran deeper into the ruins. They jumped over fallen stones, ducked under broken beams, and slid behind another half-collapsed wall. The beast slammed into the ground behind them, creating a crack that nearly split the floor. We can't outrun it, she whispered. This temple is its territory. Evan scanned the ceiling. Then we take away its territory. Before she could ask, he aimed the projector upward and fired a burst of pure white light. It hit a chain of support stones at the top of the temple. The stones cracked. The ceiling trembled. Are you mad? She shouted. A little. The shadow beast spotted them and charged. But Evan shot another beam at the ceiling. More stones broke loose. A massive block fell between them and the beast, slowing it down, not stopping it, just slowing it. The creature smashed the block aside with a roar. The girl grabbed Evan's arm. "This is not working. We are only making it angry." Evan smirked. Good, angry things make mistakes. But he wasn't fearless, not really. Sweat dripped down his temples. His breathing was heavy. His hands shook. He knew he couldn't fight this thing head-on. He knew any logical human would have run long ago. But something inside him, stubbornness, moral instinct, or just craziness, kept pushing him forward. They reached a narrow stairway leading downward. Carvings on the walls showed ancient warriors kneeling before the shadow beast. Offerings, sacrifices, despair. The girl stared at them. My tribe believed this creature was a god. They thought fear kept peace. Fear doesn't keep peace, Evan said. It just keeps people small. She looked at him, as if hearing that idea for the first time in her life. Another roar echoed through the stairway. They rushed down the steps and reached a massive underground hall, the original core of the temple. A glowing pool of purple light shimmered at the center. The girl stepped back. This is where the creature regenerates its strength. We should not be here. Exactly, Evan said. If it regenerates here, then this is where we heard it. Before she could respond, the shadow beast dropped down from the ceiling like a thunderstorm made of nightmare. Its entire form twisted into a larger, more monstrous shape. Fed by the energy of the glowing pool, it opened its jaws, revealing a swirling vortex of light and shadow. The girl whispered, "It will devour your mind if you look inside its core." "Good thing I'm not looking," Evan said, keeping his eyes on the ground. The beast lunged. Evan rolled to the side and tossed the projector toward the pool. He hit a control on his wrist. The projector exploded into a blinding flare. The size of a small sun. The pool glowed violently, then cracked. The beast screamed in agony, its form tearing apart like smoke in a windstorm. The girl collapsed to her knees, overwhelmed by the sound. Evan grabbed her shoulders. "Stay with me." The beast twisted, shrunk, and reformed. Smaller, weaker, unstable. She stared at the fading pool. "You disrupted its source. And now," Evan said, standing up again, "we make it run." The shadow beast glared at him, trembling with fury and confusion. It had never been hurt before, not truly. Not in its entire existence. Evan picked up a fallen spear from the ruins, not to kill, but to distract. The girl rose to her feet beside him, eyes blazing. "If we leave now, it will follow. It wants me." "Then we take the fight outside," Evan said. "Somewhere we're not trapped." They sprinted toward the exit hall. The weakened beast chasing them with stumbling rage. The temple walls collapsed behind them. Night air hit them like a cold wave as Evan and the alien girl burst out of the collapsing temple. Dust and purple sparks followed them. Behind, the shadow beast crawled from the ruins, its body flickering like a dying fire. It was wounded, but far from finished. Evan grabbed the girl's hand and pulled her toward the forest line. "We need cover. Move." They sprinted between tall, blue-leafed trees, their shadows stretching under the twin moons. The beast crashed through the temple remains, sending shockwaves across the ground. The girl stumbled but kept running. "It will follow me until I am dead. I am marked as the sacrifice." "We broke the ritual," Evan said. "Rules changed." "No," she said quietly. "Only the ending changed. The curse remains." Before Evan could answer, torches lit up ahead, dozens of them. Her tribe, they emerged from the darkness, wearing armor made of bone and metal. Weapons glowed in their hands. Their expressions were a mixture of fear, shock, and anger. the tribe's chief and older warrior with a long scar across his chest stepped forward. His eyes widened when he saw her. "Lyria, you live." The girl Lyria stood straight, even though she was exhausted. "I broke my chains." The chief looked past her at Evan, with the help of a human. The word human came out like an insult. Evan raised his hands. "Hey, I'm just trying to silence." A dozen spears pointed toward Evan. Lyria stepped in front of him. "He saved my life." The tribe murmured, some shocked, some scandalized. The chief stared at her in disbelief. "A warrior of our blood owes no debt to a human." "I owe him everything," she said, voice strong despite trembling legs. "I would be dead without him." The chief turned to Evan. "You interfered with the sacred rite. You broke the pact with the shadow beast. You brought doom upon us." Evan clenched his jaw. "Your sacred rite was murder. You tied her up like an offering. That's not protection, that's fear." The tribe gasped. No outsider had ever spoken to their chief like that. The chief stepped closer, anger shifting in his eyes. "Human, you know nothing of our world. Fear is our shield. Sacrifice keeps the beast asleep." Evan pointed toward the temple. "Well, guess what? Your shield didn't work." The ground trembled again. The shadow beast howled in the distance. The torches flickered. The tribe panicked. The chief's face lost color. "It comes." Lyria stepped forward. "Chief, we must move the tribe to safety." "No," the chief said harshly. "You broke tradition. You ran from your duty. You carry the curse." "My duty was to die," Lyria said. "I choose to live." The tribe fell silent. Before the chief could argue, the shadow beast emerged from the trees behind them, weak but burning with fury. Its glowing eyes fixed on Lyria. The tribe stumbled back. One warrior shouted, "The human brought it here." Another yelled, "Throw him to the beast." Spears raised toward Evan again. Lyria stepped in front of him once more, back straight, chin high. "Touch him, and you challenge me." The tribe froze. Even the chief's expression changed. Evan whispered Lyria, "You don't have to do this." She didn't look back. "You saved me. I repay the debt." Slowly, she lifted her wrist. A faint glow of tribal markings shimmered across her skin, the mark of a warrior's oath. The chief's eyes widened. "You swear a life bond with a human." Lyria nodded. "He risked his life when our own tribe abandoned me. I stand with him." The tribe erupted in shocked whispers. Evan whispered, Life bond. That sounds serious." "It is," she said. "It means I protect you, and you protect me." The shadow beast roared again, stepping closer, its form glitching in the moonlight. The chief looked at the beast, then at Lyria, then at Evan. "You two have angered an ancient terror. The tribe will not die for your choices." Lyria tightened her fists. "We will face it." The chief shook his head. "You are exiled. Both of you." He lifted his spear and shouted, "Prepare the defenses. The beast is coming." The tribe scattered, forming walls of shields and torches. Evan touched Lyria's shoulder. "We need a plan. Fast." Her eyes burned with determination. "I know where we go." "Where?" "To the truth," she said. "The real story behind the creature. The secret the tribe hid for centuries." She looked back at him, something soft in her eyes. "And I go there with you, human." The shadow beast roared behind them. The forest grew darker as Evan and Lyria pushed through the thick blue leaves. Strange insects hummed above them, glowing like small stars. Lyria walked fast despite her exhaustion, her eyes fixed ahead, her breathing sharp. Evan kept close behind. Where exactly are we going? To the place my tribe fears more than the beast, she answered. The archives of the first clan. That doesn't sound comforting. It isn't, but the truth is hidden there. Branches cracked under their boots. The shadow beast roared somewhere behind them, but farther now, weakened. Confused, Evan finally asked what he'd been wondering since the rescue. Why did your tribe sacrifice you? You're a warrior. You don't look like someone who just accepts death. Lyria didn't answer for several steps. Then quietly she said, "Because I was born different, stronger, faster. The elders believed the beast would feed longer on someone like me. They thought sacrificing me would save the tribe for another 100 cycles." Evan stopped walking for a moment. "That's cruel. It is tradition." She looked at him. And tradition is difficult to break, unless someone foolish arrives. He laughed under his breath. "You're welcome." Her lips curved faintly, almost a smile. "Do not get proud. You still owe me answers." They walked until the forest opened into a wide, rocky plain. At the center stood a massive stone door half buried in the ground. Faded symbols covered a tangent, broken, unreadable. Lyria stepped closer and touched one of the symbols. It glowed faintly under her fingers. "This is it," she said. "The vault of our ancestors." Evan swallowed. "So, we open it?" "Yes." She placed both hands on the stone. Her tribal markings glowed bright blue. The ground trembled. With a loud thud, the massive stone door slid open, revealing a long, dark passage descending underground. Cold air drifted out, old, untouched for centuries. They walked inside. The passage led to a circular chamber filled with stone tablets, broken machines, and holographic crystals. Light flickered weakly from old projectors. Evan's eyes widened. "This is technology. Our ancestors were not simple," Lyria said quietly. "Before the beast, before the sacrifices, they built wonders." Evan picked up a holographic crystal and activated it. A ghost-like projection appeared an alien scientist from thousands of years ago. His voice echoed, "Log no, 107. The weapon is unstable. It feeds on emotional waves. Fear increases its strength. Peace weakens it. If the reactor fails, it will consume anything nearby." Evan's face hardened. Weapon, not God. Not spirit. A weapon. Lyria stared at the projection, shocked. "My tribe always said it was born from darkness, a punishment from the stars. But this says our own ancestors created it." Another projection flickered. "The council ordered us to contain it. We built the sacrificial pillar to distract the creature. Fear offerings calm it for a time. But this is not a solution." Another line, "If the truth spreads, our people will revolt. So we hide it. For peace," Lyria whispered. "They lied. All these centuries, they lied." Evan placed a hand on her shoulder. "They hid the truth to control the tribe." She shook with anger, real anger, not fear. "They let us believe we were weak. They let us bow to a monster we created." Evan searched the chamber more and found another crystal. This one cracked. He activated it. A different projection, the same scientist, older, tired. "The beast cannot be killed by normal means, but it can be drained. Light, unity, calm emotions, these weaken it. If someone stands before it without fear, its power collapses." Evan looked at Lyria. "That's why my flare heard it. And why your tribe feared it so much they were feeding it." Lyria's eyes widened. "Fear keeps it strong. And my tribe lives in fear every day." They exchanged a look. She whispered, "Evan, my tribe isn't protecting themselves. They are feeding it to keep their power." Evan nodded. "Exactly." A low rumble echoed through the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. The shadow beast was tracking them again, following the last thread of Lyria's fear. Lyria stepped away from the tablets, her expression suddenly clear and fierce. No more sacrifices. No more lies. If fear makes it strong, then we will end fear. The chamber shook again. The beast was near. Evan activated another flare. Then we fight this thing the right way. She picked up an ancient spear glowing faintly with blue runes. Together. Evan tightened his grip on his own weaponless gear. Together, they stood side by side as the vault door shook violently, shadows creeping in from the cracks. The stone vault shook violently as the shadow beast forced its way through the ancient entrance. Its massive form bled darkness across the walls. Every step it took dimmed the lights inside the chamber. Its glowing eyes locked onto Lyria first, then shifted toward Evan with growing rage. Evan raised his flare, letting its bright white light burn through the shadows. The creature hissed, pulling back as if struck. Lyria stepped beside him, spear in her hands glowing with blue runes. We end it here. The creature lowered its head, gathering darkness like smoke swirling into its jaws. Evan tightened his grip on the flare. "Stay calm," he whispered. "Fear strengthens it. We need to stay steady." Lyria took a slow breath, her heartbeat matching the soft hum of her ancient spear. "I trust you, human." The beast unleashed its blast. Evan dove behind a stone pillar, dragging Lyria with him as the dark beam shattered the chamber floor. Waves of shadow exploded upward like a storm made of knives. The ancient archives began to collapse. "Move!" Evan shouted. They sprinted deeper into the vault, weaving around broken machines and fallen stones. The shadow beast tore through walls like they were thin paper. Its claws raked the ground, each swipe leaving trails of black fire. Lyria tightened her grip on the spear. "This hall leads to the upper ridge. If we reach open ground, we can use the skylight mirrors." "Skylight what?" "You will see." They reached a narrow tunnel twisting upward. Evan lit 2 more flares, tossing them behind. The beast stumbled back, its form shaking violently under the glare. Lyria's eyes widened. "Your light weapons. They are our advantage. Then let's use them." But as they climbed, the tunnel began to collapse behind them. Rocks thundered from above. Dust choked the air. The shadow beast forced itself into the tunnel, squeezing its enormous form inside. It was slower here, but still coming. Evan pulled Lyria toward the exit. "Faster. It's close." They reached the top of the ridge, then the world opened around them. The sky stretched wide, glowing with 2 full moons. The wind howled across sharp cliffs and broken towers of stone. In the distance, Lyria's tribe prepared their defenses, shields raised. Torches lit, fear already building in their eyes. Lyria pointed to a tall metal structure half buried in rock. "The skylight mirrors. My ancestors built them to focus sunlight during the old wars." Evan studied the structure, rusty, cracked, but still standing. "Can it still work?" "If we can power it," Evan grinned. "Then let's wake it up." He sprinted toward the mirror tower. Lyria blocked the tunnel entrance as the shadow beast burst out behind them, its massive form shaking off stones and dust. Its roar echoed across the valley. Lyria planted her spear in the ground. Blue runes spread from the blade, casting a protective wall of light. The beast slammed into its hand. The wall cracked, but held. She gritted her teeth. "Hurry, human." Evan climbed the mirror tower, pushing through old metal bars and broken gears. He reached a control panel covered in vines. Wiping them away, he pulled out a cable from his backpack and connected it to his handheld power module. The tower hummed weakly. "Come on, come on." Below him, Lyria's shield flickered. The beast's claws pierced through cracks. Her knees buckled, but she pushed back, refusing to step away. "For my people," she whispered. "No more fear." The module sparked, the mirror shifted. A beam of moonlight focused onto the reflective plates, brightening into a concentrated silver light. Evan shouted, "Lyria now." She heard him. The spear markings flared brighter. She stepped aside and let the beam hit the shadow beast directly. The reaction was instant. The beast shrieked, louder than ever, its entire form shaking violently. Moonlight poured through it, tearing holes in its shadowy body. Its claws melted. Its wings dissolved into smoke. But it wasn't done. It lunged at Lyria half-formed. Half-dash shadow, Evan jumped down from the tower, rolling across the ground. He grabbed his last flare and ran straight toward the creature. Lyria shouted, "Evan, no." He threw the flare into the beast's open core. Light exploded inside it. The beast's entire form burst outward in a storm of shadows and blinding silver. The shockwave knocked Lyria and Evan back across the ridge. Stones shattered. Air howled. The valley fell deadly silent. Slowly, the smoke cleared. Where the beast had stood, nothing remained but fading black mist. Lyria pushed herself up, breathing hard. Evan limped toward her, his clothes burned and covered in dust. She looked at him with something close to awe. "You fought a nightmare. And won." Evan smiled weakly. "Humans do impossible things sometimes." She stepped closer. "Not impossible. Just foolish, brave, and strange." Their moment was cut short by tribal drums echoing from the valley. The tribe had witnessed everything. The ridge was silent. Too silent. Lyria and Evan stood side by side, covered in dust and shadow scars. The ruins around them still glowed faintly where the moonlight beam had torn the shadow beast apart. Smoke drifted through the air like the last breath of an ancient nightmare below the ridge. The entire tribe had gathered with torches, drums, shields, and fear carved into their eyes. They had watched everything. They saw the impossible, the monster they worshipped, destroyed by a human and an exile. The chief stepped forward slowly, expression unreadable. His warriors spread out behind him, creating a wall of spears. The torches burned bright. But even their flames seemed small now, teeny. Compared to the power that had just been shown, Evan tightened his grip on the broken flare handle in his hand. Lyria gripped her spear, her runes still glowing faintly. "Are they going to kill us?" Evan whispered. Lyria didn't answer. She didn't know. The chief raised a hand. The valley went deathly silent. Then he spoke. "Lyria, daughter of our blood, marked for sacrifice. You stand here alive, when you should not." Lyria stepped forward, her voice steady. "I stand alive because I chose life over lies." Gasps rippled through the tribe. She lifted her spear. "For generations, you bowed to a creature that was never a god. Our ancestors created it. Our elders hid the truth. And we lived in fear because they told us fear was protection." The chief glared at her. "You speak against tradition." "I speak for freedom," she said louder. "Fear made us weak. The truth makes us strong." She gestured toward Evan. "This human had no duty to save me. Yet he risked everything. He stood against the beast when all of us ran. He showed that courage kills fear, not sacrifices." A murmur spread through the tribe. Warriors shifted, confused, unsure. The chief looked at Evan. "And you? Outsider, why did you help her? What debt binds you to our fate?" Evan sheathed his broken flare, wiped dust from his face, and stepped forward. His voice was calm but firm. "No debt, no reward. I helped because it was right." The tribe fell quiet again. Evan continued, I may be human, may be foolish, but I don't stand by and watch innocent people die because of some old story. I fight monsters, not kneel to them. Lyria looked at him, pride softening her features. The chief's expression tightened. You broke our ritual. You destroyed our god. And now you want us to abandon the ways of our ancestors. No, Evan said. I want you to stop feeding fear. Start fighting it. He pointed to the broken ridge where moonlight still shimmered. Your ancestors didn't bow to darkness. They tried to fix their mistakes. They wanted to protect you. The lies came later. The chief lowered his torch, troubled. Warriors exchanged nervous glances. Evan took a breath. Lyria faced the beast. She stood when everyone else stepped back. That makes her a true leader, stronger than any tradition. Lyria stiffened in surprise. She hadn't expected that. Her tribe stared at her, their fear slowly fading into something near respect. The chief's eyes narrowed. You want us to follow her? Evan shook his head. I want you to choose courage for the first time in generations. Silence spread again. Wind brushed across the valley. Then, slowly, one warrior stepped forward. He planted his spear in the ground and knelt to Lyria. I saw her face the creature, he said. I saw her hold the shield of light. I saw her bravery. I will follow her. Another warrior knelt, then another, then 10, then the entire front line. Within moments, the valley filled with kneeling warriors, heads bowed, not out of fear, but out of newfound strength. Lyria's eyes trembled. She had never imagined this moment. Never imagined her tribe choosing her, choosing truth. The chief remained standing, shaking with conflict. His hand trembled around his spear. After a long moment, he dropped it. The spear clattered against the stone. He bowed his head. We followed the one who dared, he said quietly. The warrior who broke our chains. Lyria inhaled shakily. She turned to Evan. You gave me courage. You gave my people a future. Evan smirked. Nah, you did that. I just annoyed a giant shadow monster. She laughed softly, her first real laugh since they met. The tribe rose together. The moons shined brighter. The valley felt lighter, as if the darkness of thousands of years had finally lifted. Lyria faced her people. From today onward, no more sacrifices. No more lies. We choose strength, not fear. The tribe pounded their spears into the ground in agreement. Evan stepped beside her. She looked at him with something softer than gratitude. Human, you changed my fate, and my tribe's destiny. He shrugged. Guess I have a habit of doing that. She lowered her voice. Stay. Walk beside me, as ally. Or more. Evan smiled. Wherever you go, Lyria, I'll follow. The camera fades out on the tribe cheering behind them, the moons shining overhead, and the darkness finally broken.